I gotta be honest, I love questions like this because it gives me the opportunity to make a video in response. Before I make these videos, I always like to ask a follow-up question. In this case, the viewer's budget is $400, and he likes to use the whammy bar quite a bit. And as it turns out, that last detail is actually going to be the X factor that helps us decide which guitar is best. Typically, budget guitar brands like to try and entice guitar players with specs like roasted maple necks, stainless steel frets, or even locking tuners. However, you usually notice the budget part of a budget guitar when it comes to the hardware. That being said, when you're using a budget tremolo combined with heavy whammy bar usage, tuning stability becomes a big factor. It doesn't matter how a guitar looks, sounds, or feels, if it doesn't stay in tune, it's no good. So coming up, you're going to see tone tests for budget guitars that can play death metal without the use of a whammy bar. Following that is going to be a second tone test where I show you budget guitars that can play death metal with the use of a whammy bar. And just so you know, for a guitar to be chosen, it had to meet my 5 criteria. How does it sound? How does it look? How does it feel? Does it stay in tune? And does it match your budget? Before we jump in, I'm going to give you a little spoiler alert. I've always been a massive fan of used gear, and in my opinion, you get a lot more guitar for your budget when you buy used as opposed to new. So mixed in with both tone tests, you're going to see both new and used guitars. So before we start with the tone test, we have to address one of the most important factors, and that's going to be, what are you playing out of? In my case, I'll be using the Boss Katana 100-watt head plugged into my Harley Benton 2x12 cabinet. That being said, I'm going to show you just about any guitar can be used for death metal if you have the right amp. And just to prove my point, we're going to start off with a Telecaster style guitar from the brand Firefly. You can get this guitar for under $200 on their website, guitarsgarden.com. This particular Telecaster happens to be a baritone, so I'm tuned down to drop A. These next 3 guitars are some of my favorite budget guitars, and they do a great job playing death metal. The first budget guitar is going to be the Westcreek High Voltage. It should be noted there's another version of the Westcreek High Voltage that also has a Floyd Rose type tremolo. I don't have that one, but I've heard good things. This guitar has a little bit of a noise issue, but it definitely has the look. And you might ask yourself, do looks matter? Not really, but kinda. When it comes down to it, if you have a guitar that works, you could play some metal. However, if you have a guitar that you really love the way it looks, you're going to be inspired to want to pick it up more, at least in my opinion. The next budget guitar is going to be the Westcreek Cerberus. Like the High Voltage, there's also a version of this one with a Floyd Rose type tremolo. You can find this guitar for about $220 on Amazon. And as you're about to see, it's got some killer tones. My next recommendation is going to be for the Westcreek Revenge. This is one of my first guitars from Westcreek, and I was so pleased that I bought some more. This guitar holds its tune, looks great, and sounds great. Again, you can get this guitar for about $230 on Amazon. As I mentioned before, I would throw some used gear at you as well. Well, here we have the BC Rich Platinum Series Warlock. This guitar was made after the year 2000, and you can tell by the headstock. I put some fresh strings on this and had it set up for drop A. This guitar still has its stock pickups, but if you ask me, it sounds badass. As far as the looks go, well, you can't get more metal than a Warlock. My first budget guitar with a whammy bar is going to be the Jackson Warrior from the JS line. It has a Jackson tremolo system, so let's see how well it holds its tune after I use the whammy bar a few times. You can get this guitar for about $375 brand new, so it definitely comes in under budget. So here's the plan for these whammy bar tone tests. Each guitar is going to be freshly tuned, then I'm going to play some metal riffs using plenty of whammy bar. After that, I'll throw the guitar back into the tuner so we can double check for accuracy. The first note is D. The next one is A. Next one is D. Again, not too bad, a little bit sharp. Oh, that one is G. That one's way out of whack. The next one should be B. Not bad. So I gotta be honest, this Jackson held its tune better than I thought it would, but the high E string breaking definitely throws the results a little bit out of whack. I didn't want to skip this guitar though, because Jackson makes great guitars, even in the JS line. This next budget guitar is the Jaymz Tempest Deluxe. This guitar is a Wilkinson bridge, so I have high hopes. This guitar looks cool, sounds cool, and you can get it on Amazon for about $250. If this guitar holds its tune like I think it will, you'll still have some money in that budget if you wanted to upgrade the pickups. really quick. As you can hear, this guitar went out of tune right away. There's no need to look at the tuner. So we're going to have to scratch this guitar from my recommendations. This next guitar is the Ibanez RG470MB. I was able to get this guitar used for $360. This guitar looks great, sounds great, and feels great. Let's see how well it holds its tune after some heavy whammy bar usage. So I have to say I haven't played this guitar in a few months. I picked it up and only one string was slightly out of tune. That's pretty impressive. So even if it doesn't really pass the whammy bar test, it's worth noting that you could pull this guitar off the shelf and it will still be in tune for you. First one should be D. Okay, that's only slightly flat. Next one is A. That's dead on. D. That's on. G. Pretty good. Oh, that's on too. B. And E. So after checking out the tuning, with only one string slightly out of tune, I'm really impressed by this Ibanez, and definitely gets pushed up in my recommendations. Once again, this is the Ibanez RG470MB. I bought it used for $360, which is under your budget. And now for my final pick, which is going to be my official recommendation to you. What we have here is the Schecter Damien Platinum. This guitar was crafted in Korea and has a neck-through body. It comes with EMG pickups and a Floyd Rose special in the bridge. Not only that, it has the really cool bat inlays. Following the raw tone test for this guitar, you're going to hear a full mix demo where I used this guitar to record with. Brand new, this guitar is about $800, but if you buy used, you can get it for your budget of $400. I got this one for $375. So before I jump in with this tone test, I'm going to tell you, this is going to be my recommendation. Not only that, I tuned it up and recorded a full mix demo with it. I just pulled it off the rack and it was still in tune. That's a great sign considering I didn't tune it up after I was done recording. Let's hear how it sounds to the live rig and what it does. the first note should be C. The next note should be G. Not bad, slightly sharp. Next note is C. That one's on. The next note is F. That one's on. A, good. And the last one is D. There you go. Well, in my opinion, this guitar held its tune pretty well, especially for the beating that I put on it. I still think the Ibanez performed slightly better, but with the EMG pickups, I still think this is your winner. So remember, at the end of the day, depending on what you're playing out of, just about any guitar can be used for death metal. But if you want something that has the look, the sound, and can hold its tune fairly decently, look no further than this guitar. Hope that helps. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.